So I started to really think about what some of the dark side of marketing was, ways I was getting tricked, and then felt guilty because I felt like I, based off what I do for my job in market research, was like perpetuating this issue without meaning to.
One of the many areas of expertise you have is in nutrition coaching. Do people ever talk about coffee anymore? I remember like when you're a kid, like, don't drink too much coffee, but sometimes coffee is good for you. Is that something that nutrition folks talk about?
I think for nutrition, it's most things in moderation. So like when I talk to most people who are worried about their coffee consumption, it's just because it's prohibiting them from drinking more water.
Yeah.
And so ideally when we're talking to folks, especially those who are pretty active, you want to drink about half your body weight in ounces of water a day. So if you already, that could be 60 to 80 ounces, right? That's a lot. And it's hard for people to consume that much water.
Right.
And oftentimes it's because they're sipping their coffee on the way to work as they sit at their desk in the morning. So it's more of a reminder of, hey, maybe let's like at breakfast have a glass of water and then maybe drink some coffee.
Yeah.
Or there's some people I know who'll take a sip of coffee and then a sip of water, like almost like with alcohol. I think another big thing too, from a nutrition standpoint, is most folks don't recognize that their coffee creamer is typically really full of sugar and fat.
Right.
And you'll see people who are like tracking their macros and they're not accounting for their creamer.
Yeah.
And so it's just like a big miss. So it's kind of a reminder of, hey, like if you're using half and half, are you tracking that fat? Are you tracking that calories? Because if you're not, you're probably going to learn really quick. You're going to start cutting back because 2 tablespoons of half and half is not that much creamer.
Hey, quick heads up. Your gym just got its own online gear shop powered by WOD Like the Pros. To shop, go to wodlikethepros.com, click Find Your Gym, enter your gym's name, and you're in. You shop for gear, supplements, and equipment from brands you already love, and a cut of every sale goes directly back to your gym. No markups, no extra cost, just an easy way to support your gym while grabbing the stuff you need to level up your WODs. Shop smart, support your gym, WOD Like the Pros.
So is a lot of what you do when you first take a nutrition client helping them realize the sort of secret, you didn't say calories, but maybe like calories or sugar that is really already present and just helping them sort of pull the curtain back?
Yeah, somewhat. The first meeting is always a walkthrough of their day and everything that they're consuming, from what they're drinking to what they're eating. And it's, at what time, how did it make you feel? And that's really where we can start to unpack certain areas that they might need to improve on. There are people I've talked to who you'll go through like an example day and you'll kind of be asking around these meal occasions, did you have water with that? Did you? And they'll be like, no. And then it's 3:00 and you've realized that in this normal day, they haven't had a sip of water. So it's that type of just kind of, let's be realistic on what do we actually do, and then we can start to pinpoint areas that we can work on. Because for some people, it's nutrition, and it's just the lack of awareness. They don't really know what to look for, or they maybe think they're doing everything great, and they they can't figure out why they're not losing weight.
Yeah.
For other people, though, it's like it could be sleep, it could be stress, it could just be other lifestyle. It might not even be what they're consuming. So that's a lot of what we take the first session trying to figure out together.
And for you, like when you came to nutrition coaching, was that as sort of in parallel with your interest in CrossFit, or were you interested in nutrition independently?
I was always kind of interested in nutrition because I've been on this journey of health and wellness for a while now. Back in college, people can't believe it, but I was much heavier. I was probably like a size 10. Definitely closer to like the 200-pound range. And that's when I started to really get into fitness and nutrition and learn the mechanics. I would say that nutrition was a more heightened focal point in my life after I had my son. And that was because I all of a sudden had to prepare food for this other human. And I wanted to set him up for success in life. So the concept of giving him a bunch of processed high sugar foods just wasn't something I was interested in. And what ended up happening is I would plan these meals and, make a menu and go get the groceries and come home. And my husband, who works in the healthcare space, not in a mean way, but just in a, hey, did you notice way
Yeah.
that when you bought this loaf of bread that said multigrain,
Yeah.
that it wasn't 100% multigrain?
Mm.
Because multigrain just means it has multiple grains, and
That's more
sometimes
than
it has
one
like
grain.
flour, yeah.
Yeah.
And that it's actually has some added sugar, and
Yeah.
it maybe isn't the best choice for our son. And that is when I really started to think through, oh my gosh, there's so much that I'm being tricked at in the
Yeah.
store to thinking is healthy that's not. And because of the job I have, I had access to more information to the industry. So I started to
Mhm.
really think about what some of the dark side of marketing was, ways I
Interesting.
was getting tricked, and then felt guilty because I felt like I, based off what I do for my job in market research, was like perpetuating this issue without meaning to, because
Yeah.
we collect really great, interesting data about what people want and what they're hoping for. And, you know, they want to live healthier lifestyles.
Mhm.
They do care about what they're consuming, but they're just very trusting, and they don't
Yeah.
have maybe the time and the mental capacity to like think about all of these nutritional
Sure.
facts. So they're just
Yeah.
buying things. So I felt bad that maybe I was making things worse. So I do think a part of me got into nutrition coaching because I thought maybe I can help people not make the
Yeah.
same mistakes that I did.
Interesting. So you talked about terms like multigrain, which are, like
Hmm.
claims on, like product claims on a label. And you didn't say this, but it seemed like you were suggesting that there's this maybe a strategy to sort of highlight terms that might appear healthy in order to sort of
Yeah.
veil some underlying qualities of the products that are less than healthy. Is that pretty common? I have to imagine it's pretty common.
It's pretty common. It's something in the industry that's referred to as like health halos. So terms like organic, boosts immunity, gut health, gluten-free, dairy-free, whole grain,
Yeah.
non-GMO, no added sugar. Like pretty much everything you see on packaging is almost a hooded claim,
Yeah.
because there's this really interesting gray area. If you look at like the intersection of marketing, of consumer psychology, and of, let's say, regulation, there's this gray area where brands are actually allowed to use softer language that implies a benefit that hasn't actually been proven. And they haven't technically crossed a legal line. My favorite is one of the big trends of today is protein, protein, protein. And
Yes.
everyone who, even if you're health conscious and you don't follow nutrition closely, you at least know there is this search for protein that we're
Yeah.
all on, and that
Yeah.
protein is good for muscle building. And they're not wrong.
Yeah.
But what you see is like marketers can just kind of say high protein on the package, but really it's only like 3 to 5 grams of protein. And that's like the low level benchmark they have to hit to put that on the packaging.
Yeah.
But for anyone in search of protein, we know that 3 to 5 grams is not that much. We're
Not that
actually
much,
looking
yeah.
for like 15 plus grams.
Right.
So you have these people who have good intentions and they think they're buying well, but they're actually not.
Yeah.
And they're just being led astray. And often too, they have these high protein, the 3 to 5 grams of protein, which is not enough. That's also just loaded with
Yeah.
sugar.
Right.
So that's when you get some of these granola bars that
Yeah.
are essentially like a candy bar.
Yeah. If you're a consumer and you want to be smart about how you select products that are advertising their protein, what's the right way to do it? Is it to like look for a certain number on the back? Is it look for some ratio between grams of protein and grams of sugar? Or do you have any tips on how people can shop more intelligently?
I definitely have tips. The hard part is, in answering your question, is it depends.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes people are chasing different objectives from what they're eating. So if we go to like the protein bar example, there are different types of bars. Some people may be looking for a meal replacement. Some people may be looking for a post-workout recovery option. Others may be looking for just like a general snack. So there's actually 3 different processes that I would take dependent upon that objective.
Oh, okay.
But to answer your question succinctly, I think that's why macronutrients are so important. And for people to understand what balanced macronutrients means, which macronutrients is protein, carb, fat. If they understand that conceptually, then they can start to figure out how to look at a label and understand how to interpret it in the right way to make more educated decisions.
Mm-hmm. And is that just sort of, okay, if I want to do like a 30-30-30 split, I know that doesn't go to 100, but pretend like it did.
It's fine.
It's literally just saying like, I want to have the same number of grams of protein, the same number of grams of fat. I don't know, does fat come in grams? And the same
carbs,
the same. That's literally the way to do it.
Yeah. And then you can start to build. So for instance, first tip is look at the serving size, because one trick or trap, I combine those together, is that you'll see some brands will do it for a serving size of 2 or more, which is deceptive.
That's deceptive.
So, they just play around with it to make things seem like they're better than potentially they are.
Yeah.
So always look at the serving size. Always look at the added sugar. Added sugar is really where people mess up. Because that quickly, if you see a ton of added sugar, there's a bunch of fake stuff in there. We might as well just stay away from it. And then maybe even for those who are a little bit more advanced, if you are looking at a higher carb option, you should also be seeing higher levels of fiber. If there is limited fiber, low fiber, it means it's not a quality carb. So there are tricks, and there are ways to get better. But I will say that for many American who isn't focused on nutrition, that seems very overwhelming. We probably just threw out a bunch of terms where they're like,
right.
I just look at calories and protein and get that.
Yeah.
But there are other traps too. Like think about all of the foods that are positioned as being a healthy alternative that aren't. So think about like juices. I have a real problem with juices. I don't know if you've seen the brand called Good to Grow. Good to Grow. They have, if you go in the grocery store, they have like Paw Patrol or like Disney characters on top.
Oh, yeah.
So they're marketed to kids. They seem super fun and exciting, and the kids want to play with them. And you think it's a good option because on the box, it may say like 100% juice.
100% juice. Yeah, that's something you see.
No added sugar. And you're like, great. This
thanks.
is it for my kids.
It's from nature. Yeah.
It's from nature. It's a kid-sized bottle. The packaging's so fun. It's spill-proof, like great option. And you know what? For some people, maybe that is what they're looking for. I get it. But for those who are trying to provide a good option for their kid, I mean, this is a juice that is very high in sugar. It's like 13 to 18 grams of sugar, which is almost as much as a small can of soda.
Yeah.
Which is going to spike your blood sugar and lead to a crash, right? And then maybe it's creating this perception that if my kid drinks juice, maybe they don't need to eat whole fruits. And that's not something we want to perpetuate. And that's typically because when people drink juices, they're drinking like 2 to 3 times the amount that they would get by just eating the fruit itself. So stuff like that is problematic. And none of the fiber, exactly.
Damn you, Paw Patrol.
Damn you. So it's like that. It's veggie straws. It's pre-made salad kits.
Yeah.
It's deli meats. I mean, all these things that people are really trying to select as a better option that are just not.
Are there other sort of psychological tricks that marketers are using? I don't mean to like cast marketers as like villains or anything, but are there other sort of like elements of our psychology that are easily hijacked to sort of get us to choose one thing over the other?
Yeah, I mean, there is, and you know what's really funny about this is health conscious consumers are the easiest to trick, which is like wild. No. Because you would think like, oh, they know more.
Yeah.
So we can talk about some ways to combat it. Yeah. But I think the biggest psychological factor that marketers leverage, to their benefit.
Yeah.
I won't say they're like evil and like
no, sure.
But they recognize that there is a certain level of trust that the government and organizations will not lead us astray when it comes to
Yeah.
health and wellness. I'm not really sure why this trust still exists,
Yeah.
but most people will say, oh, well, the FDA is there to keep us safe.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't
Sure.
really understand all the mechanisms there, all the loopholes that are there.
Right.
But beyond that, there's also this time and stress factor relationship that is evident across all shopping experiences, where most people are very short on time and they're very overwhelmed with what's in front of them. And this plays to the marketer's advantage. Because essentially what they're going to do is flood the market with a ton of options. And then you hit two things. This is marketing jargon. It's called cognitive overload and decision paralysis. So cognitive overload just means I have too much going on that I'm not maybe making the most informed decision unless I've done some pre-planning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to find the 2 to 3 best options I see in front of me, do a quick compare of what I know, and just pick the one that makes the most sense.
Right.
Whether it be because it's the coolest packaging, it's the cheapest, or it's kind of hitting these baseline things that I'm looking for. And then decision paralysis is when there's so many options that I freeze.
Yeah.
And then I'm really just picking a brand that I know.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of just banking on the fact that people aren't paying enough attention. They'll just pick my brand.
Oh, man.
All I have to do is make the packaging have fruit
brighter
on it.
Yeah,
a little bit brighter. Use these colors, have this language, and all of a sudden, their sales go through the roof. Or I have to get one influencer to say that they use my product, and then all of a sudden everyone's using it.
I mean, it's such a commitment in order to make healthy choices because it takes so much information, time, patience. It makes sense, like, to sort of connect it up with your personal story, like that a huge life change, like having a son, is the kind of thing that it would take that kind of thing in order to finally say, like, okay, I got to get serious about this. So
I saw a video where someone was talking about the fact that, when you go to work out, you only have to think about it for an hour. And sometimes for like CrossFitters like us, you don't even really have to think about it. You just have to show up.
Right.
Do the workout that's written. But then the rest of your day is spent thinking about food.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to eat? What are the macros? Like, how do I, work it around my schedule? So it's a lot of focus. And I think that's where nutrition coaching for people new to the space, or actually people who have been working out diligently for years, but maybe aren't hitting the results that they want, can be a helpful tool. Just because you learn the mechanics, you learn what works for your lifestyle, for your family, and then can build off of it.
I mean, it's interesting sort of connecting up with CrossFit. Like my wife and I are about 2 years into CrossFit. And so, but I feel like just now I'm realizing, nutrition really is the foundation of the CrossFit pyramid. Like fundamentally, it's a point about nutrition. Maybe not no one, but I certainly wasn't thinking about that when I first came in. Maybe like talk a little bit about how you came into CrossFit and how, I don't know if it was through nutrition or how you came to it.
I wish it was. I truly wish it was. So throughout my journey, I kind of learned how to work out in college. Like,
did you do sports and stuff growing up, or?
I did. I did softball and volleyball growing up. I would say I'm fairly athletic, and that has served me well in CrossFit. I mean, I think I've done really well for myself for like an average person who has a life outside of it.
Yeah.
But I never learned how to lift and how to do more functional fitness, how to program until I came to CrossFit. So in college, I kind of figured out what a gym was and kind of what the whole calorie concept was.
Did you start at CrossFit or did you do a non-CrossFit gym?
No, I just started at like the campus gym.
Oh, yeah.
Which campus gym should really do more to get people in the door and like understanding fitness. They probably do. I've been out of college for a while.
Yeah.
And then I started working out by myself at like a Planet Fitness, and that pushed me to have to think through different muscle groups and like, all right, if I'm going every day, I don't just want to run on the treadmill. So like, how do I create these workouts for myself?
Yeah.
But that got really boring, one. And
Yep.
two, isolating in the sense of like, I was surrounded by all these people, but didn't feel like I was having meaningful connections with any of
Yeah,
them.
sure.
So someone said like, well, you should try out this CrossFit because they're having these free like demo days. And so that's when I got into CrossFit. And in my mind, I was like, I just kind of looking for people to
Yeah.
program for me and like have this community. That's really why I went to CrossFit. And the day one, they're like, well, what's your goal? And I like didn't even have a goal. So I was like, maybe to like do a pull up, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So nutrition really just didn't come until later in the game. I'd been in CrossFit a couple of years, started seeing success, started to dial in a little bit more, got
Yeah.
certified for coaching. Then all of a sudden people are asking you more questions. So I really do feel like I fell into it. But I do think that people who are the most successful at CrossFit and probably have the highest retention seem to be individuals that are just curious individuals.
Mm.
So they want to learn more. They want to understand like behind the curtains
Yeah.
interworkings that make everything kind of get better and more efficient. And also CrossFitters who I guess just are looking for a healthier lifestyle overall and
Mhm.
recognize that that can come from different components. It's not just about lifting at the gym.
Right, right, right.
I just feel like people who have that mentality do much better at CrossFit. I do find that folks who come in with just, I want to lose 15 pounds or I want to do a pull up, I think they can do okay. But once you hit that goal,
Yeah.
if you don't have that healthier lifestyle end game, those might be the people who fizzle out or burn out
Yeah.
and then potentially leave. But that's just the opinion of one.
Yeah. No, I think it takes something. I don't know if it's insanity or courage to like
Yeah, a little bit.
walk in the door, like, because we all know the reputation. You know,
Mhm.
you walk in and like you see people doing handstand push-ups and you turn around and you walk back to there like, I can't do that. So it takes a little bit of something to get
Mhm.
in there too. So it's not surprising that that quality that allows people to come into the door, even to a higher degree, is what sort of separates people who can be more
Mhm.
successful in it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think CrossFit is for everyone, or do you think that there are some people where, like, not that they shouldn't be working out, but just CrossFit isn't for them?
I think CrossFit is for everyone who has the right mentality,
Mhm.
honestly. I don't think that there are physical limitations to CrossFit. I
Yeah.
think that there are mental limitations to CrossFit. And I see this as a coach
Yeah.
often. I don't think people do it on purpose, but I think we can always scale what we're doing to meet people where they're at physically, even if they have mobility and injuries that we need to think about. Like there's something you can be doing to move your body at CrossFit.
Yeah.
I think that for folks who are not comfortable being uncomfortable, that they will hit a mental wall that they decide not to push through.
hmm
And I think those are people who are probably not suitable to CrossFit in the long term because I think CrossFit is a constant mental game. And again, this is just my opinion, but when you have athletes who consistently, not just every once in a while, consistently come into the gym and want to change how the workout's written because they just don't feel comfortable or it doesn't feel right. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's a cop out.
Yeah.
And if you're not physically in pain, there are things we can do to make you more confident. There are
Yeah.
things we can do to help it feel better, but you have to commit to wanting to do that. And if you don't have that conviction, I just don't really see CrossFit working out for those folks.
Yeah. Part of what I love about CrossFit is not the physical stuff, but like the work it does on your character. Like I
Yeah.
think when I was chatting with Steven the other day, I was saying there's just something about pick up the bar when you don't want to pick up the bar. You're
Yeah.
constantly forced in, like, pick up the bar, whatever happens to be in that workout. You're constantly forced to choose to either put that in your character or not in
Mhm.
CrossFit. And I think that just that compounding effect of doing that day in and day out changes you as a person. Part of why I'm doing these conversations is to like explore what non-physical, not non-physiological, non-fitness related things CrossFit unlocks in a person. So that's kind of why I'm like interested in that.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right.
Yeah.
And I hope that you see that change or growth in your own children who have been
Yeah.
showing up. I mean, I don't know how often you
Right.
talk about your girls coming, but
Yeah.
I can't think of anything better. And I would hope that my son would keep coming too,
Yeah.
because I just think that there are so many intangibles to CrossFit that
Yeah.
go beyond just the physicality, the muscle growth, the fat loss.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it's just so much more than that. People who come to CrossFit are, well, we call them dragons. I think everyone's a dragon because
Yeah.
we're just doing things that are hard mentally,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's 100 degrees outside or torrential downpours. No one wants to go for a run, but sometimes you
something
just
about
got to
it.
go out the door and move
Yeah.
your feet.
There's something about it. This is a new thing that I want to start asking everybody, but what
Okay.
is your perfect CrossFit workout? If you had to design one for you to get absolute first place, what is your workout?
Probably.
And I should have probably asked you this ahead of time, but
No, it's okay. I like being
Mhm.
like this. Call me crazy. It's probably something like Cindy, 20-minute AMRAP, 5, 10, 15. And there are different ways to do it, which I think is really cool. So like sometimes I'm feeling really good and I'll like fly through and I'm like looking to get over 20 rounds
Yeah.
because like I am an athlete that I feel like I have an engine. I'll just go.
Yeah. Yeah. You
I'm
do.
maybe not the most high skilled and I'm definitely not the heaviest lifter, but like I have an engine and will go.
Yeah.
And so it's those type of workouts that I love. I could do it anywhere. And if it's a day where I'm not wanting to be rushed, but I'm wanting to get in good reps, then you can just turn it into like an EMOM or something like that, where like every minute on the minute you're doing something and then you're building in reps. So it's those types of flexible body weight workouts that I prefer.
Yeah. Those are good. How do you just mentioned like if it's one of those days where you don't feel like you want to push, how do you make that decision for yourself? Like maybe I'll go a little easier today.
I can feel it. I can
feel it?
definitely feel it. I wake up knowing that my body is not in peak
And is
shape.
it easy for you to go hard or to not go hard, or is it like no problem? Today's an easy day. Cause I really struggle to not go 100% all the time.
I think it depends on who's in class with me, honestly, which is very honest.
Yeah.
I'm a competitive person. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. There are certain people who, even if I'm showing up feeling like crap, I'm going to give 110% and kill myself because I'm trying to beat the person next to me, you know? But for the most part, I wake up feeling like I'm not 100% my best and can reset my expectations mentally before I walk in the door so that I have a good workout where I feel like I'm being pushed, I'm sweating, but I'm not at burnout. And I think I've learned that again since becoming a parent because I have to live like a whole life outside of the gym. And I have a kid that's depending on me to be in a good mood and to have energy to play with them. So I really just don't see the benefits anymore of just driving to burnout or pushing myself beyond where I think I should be.
Yeah.
So more often than not, I'm actually scaling back a little bit more often.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned being a parent. So there's another facet of that, which you're not there yet, but like our oldest daughter has been going to CrossFit pretty regularly, but her cross country season has just started. And so today I decided that I would not let her come to CrossFit so she could, to force her to rest. Cause I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to burn her out or risk or have her get injured now that her season started. And so being a parent of someone she's not in love with CrossFit yet, but she's, on her way, and having to tell her to rest makes me say, you know what, I needed to be telling myself those exact same things. So it's sort of awakened something in me that's like, I need to pay a little bit more attention to this. So
yeah, you're going to have to build in rest days and like actively voice it, but make it sound natural. Like, oh, I'm just having a rest day. Make it sound normal so that she's like, oh, if dad does a rest day, I can do a rest day.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I should model it for her too.
Yeah, if you don't rest day, she won't rest day, Trevor.
That's true. That's true. She was a little grumpy that I didn't wake her up in order to go. So, which initially I was happy about. I was like, she's mad that I didn't invite her. But yeah, are there pieces of gear in the CrossFit gym that you like, brands that you really like I'm a Bear Complex person or whatever. And could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. It's going to be different from what the other folks said, but purposely, because I feel like there is a real stigma. And this just goes with the topic of my whole spiel today. But there's this like stigma that belts and knee sleeves aren't necessary. And they're maybe for older people, or for people who have pain, or man, I don't lift heavy enough. I don't need that gear. I say get. So I have two pood for my belt. Okay. Which I just learned that I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but a pood is like a kettlebell load.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's like
I'm
a
glad that
Russian
you
weight
can, I
or
was like,
something.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And then for my knee sleeves, I have Bear Complex, and I love Bear Complex. I have like my wrist wraps are Bear Complex. My tape is Bear Complex. But I do think that knee sleeves and the back belt is a good way to go. I mean, for the back belt, I think people get confused because sometimes I see people wearing them for lifts that you probably don't need them for.
What do you
but
not need
whatever.
them for, or probably not need them for?
I mean, you need them for, you can use them for any Olympic lift for the most part. They're best suited for anywhere where you need that core tension. So front squat, back squat, deadlift, push press, like great. But you'll see, I saw someone put it on when we were doing like bench presses, and I was like, I don't really know what that's
So I was doing butterflies. You don't really
or they were doing it with like dumbbells, but the dumbbells weren't that heavy. So, you know, I was but I'm like, you know what, Liz, let them live their life.
Let them do the thing.
Great that they're doing it, because it is a good mental crutch. But I do think that it's really a good tool for people to use when they have those heavy volume sets, or if they're 80% of above, because it does decrease that risk of injury. And then for knee sleeves, it's good to have that compression. People say, oh, I didn't start wearing it till after I got injured. And I just kept thinking, if my knee is kind of hurting, I should just put on that knee sleeve, get that compression so that I recover faster. So it is, again, like nutrition, a fine balance, because you don't want these two things to be a crutch. You don't want them to mask maybe underlying issues of you not lifting correctly. So I get that, but I do like them immensely and use them often.
What about your jump rope preference? Do you?
Oh my gosh, I have a Rogue jump rope.
Rogue.
And I trained on a weighted jump rope, which people will tell you is insane. But I got really strong very quickly. So then by the time I moved to the speed rope, I was off to the races. I was flying. I do think, though, I think Steven said this on his podcast, that having your own jump rope is like, if you're ready to get serious about CrossFit, I do think that is nice. I can't even use anyone else's anymore.
And you like the Rogue brand?
I do. I'm very loyal. This goes with nutrition too. I do a lot. Okay. My husband does a lot of research, and I trust him. And sometimes I'll do some research. And once I find a brand and a product that hits the criteria I'm looking for, I pretty much stick to it. And I don't detract. Even if something looks shiny and new and different and oh my gosh, so exciting.
Not you.
Wow, I love that new flavor. No, if I haven't done the research on it, I've kind of been learning to not go that route. And it's the same with nutrition. And so oftentimes if I'm looking for ingredients or products that are new to me, I will try to do some research beforehand to make sure I'm having an informed decision. And if I show up and they don't have that product, I don't just grab something that I think is similar. I just don't buy anything until
just walk out, turn around and walk right out of the store.
Like, I'm out of here. I'm that loyal.
Liz K, ideal consumer. Very good.
Yeah. Well, worst nightmare probably for everyone else.
So where can people reach out to you if they're interested in nutrition coaching?
Yeah. So if anyone wants to have a conversation around their nutrition and get some help, I would go to the CrossFit 859 website, and all the information you need to get in touch with me is right there for you. See ya.
Thanks, Liz.
Yeah. Thank you.